Hi friends, welcome back to the podcast Chin Up and Rise. We have a super special guest with us today, Sarah Raman, a soon-to-be mother of two and the founder of our very own mother's care business, Fourth Wellness. Sarah used to be a research scientist in biomedical science, working in the field of cancer studies, but she gave it all up to become a full-time mother after she gave birth to her adorable daughter in New York. However, that did not stop her from finding her true calling of starting a business to care for the rest of the mothers out there when she actually returned to Singapore. As a mother herself, Sarah believes that women are capable of being a mother while chasing their own passion as well. Despite juggling two jobs as a mother and a founder, Sarah stayed true to her beliefs and continued to empower the mothers community in Singapore by reaching out to others via her business Fourth Wellness. Picking up a new skill has never been easy. What's more, taking on a new role and a foreign role in life. Let's walk through with Sarah on some things that soon-to-be mothers and full-time mothers can actually take note of, and how people in their immediate circle can actually provide the support to these mothers and incredible women in our lives. Without further ado, let's welcome Sarah on set. Hi Sarah, welcome to the set.
Hi.
Look at that baby bump.
Yeah, it's getting bigger.
Yeah. All right. When are you gonna be due for the second one?
June 19. So
June
it's
19.
very, very soon.
Yeah.
Like anytime in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
Possibly, or
actually,
later.
after I think even after
Yeah.
when this episode airs, she will already be out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a baby boy or baby
Girl.
Baby girl.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually inspired you to start Fourth Wellness?
Fourth Wellness began as an idea after I became a mom. More so because I gave birth in New York City, and that was where I was just living with my husband, and we're starting a family without any family members close by to us. And at that time, people around, our friends there were very, they just showered us with love and gave me gifts for postpartum recovery, and like they thought of me and not so much like, oh, after giving birth, just give like gifts to my baby or anything like that. So I was like, hey, that doesn't like seem to be happening so much in Singapore. Like people are like tending to give gifts to the baby after the baby is born, and then the mother is like, okay, like, oh, they have
Neglected,
confinement
right?
nannies, or they have their own plans, they have their ways of coping. I don't know what to give to them also.
Right.
And so I don't really think about that. So I was thinking, since I'm coming back to Singapore, like it would be a good thing to like try and shift their mindsets or the mindset of the people here, like just to think of the moms a bit more, to show some care and some love to moms, because it is a new transition. It's a whole big transition, becoming a mother, becoming a parent. It's a steep learning curve, basically. So there is a lot to learn. There's a lot to catch up on. Like you're learning about breastfeeding, you're learning about their sleeping patterns, you're learning about how to become a good parent to them. There's so many like facets of it that can be overwhelming. So and tiring, exhausting early days that people don't know of until they become parents.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring about the awareness that moms need care
as well.
That they need to be loved. They need to get that love from like family and friends. It's not just about visiting them, because sometimes that can add to their
pressure,
or tiredness and everything, having to host people who come to their homes. So there are other ways you can like send your love to them first, and then when they are more free or they are more into the groove of things, then visit them and show them that physical presence
and support.
Yeah.
So I mean, understand that when you gave birth to your first kid, right? He was actually in New York.
Yeah.
So maybe you can actually tell us what are some main differences you actually spot during confinement period for someone who's actually in the Western culture and Asian culture.
Right. I think in the Western culture, it's not a very known thing to do like confinement. Like for them, they're more, I mean, they do have help sometimes from like parents or who come and like help out and stuff, but I think the culture of like, eating very nourishing foods
Yeah.
or resting at home or keeping warm, that
Yeah.
kind of theories don't like apply to them
Right.
so much. Yeah.
Mm.
Whereas in the Eastern culture, I think, yeah, whether Koreans, Japanese, I think Singaporeans, Asians in general, all like, oh yeah, you need to eat warming foods
Correct.
and like you need to
You cannot
like,
take shower.
yeah,
and
and take
everything.
showers, that kind of myths and stuff. But yeah, and like stay home, don't catch a
Yeah,
cold, that kind
correct.
of thing. Yeah, so there's like those differences. I
Mm.
think that's why I guess in the US, like it's a little bigger thing for people to think
Yeah.
about caring for the mothers, like because they know that it's in their culture, like they're not so much cared for. They don't think of themselves or their recovery as
Right.
like,
Okay. That's why there's
so
more.
important.
So that's why there's
Yeah.
more focus on the mothers than the babies, right?
Yeah, so like people
Okay.
know to like, okay, I want to like do something for the mom.
I
Like
see.
they might not be taking care of themselves as well. So whereas I think here people are more reliant on like,
Confinement.
yeah, they really know like, yeah, that it's already like a culture where people
Yes.
are taking care of themselves, but at the same time, it's not just enough to me. I feel like it's not just enough for you to bear the whole thing yourself,
Right.
especially if you're going through the transition.
Yeah.
It's still something useful for like your friends and your family to care
understand.
for you and to understand
Mm.
and go through with you emotionally, not just thinking that your needs physically are cared for already.
Just because you have a confinement nanny, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that is actually how or that's actually what inspired you to kickstart this business for mothers, right?
Yeah.
In Singapore, because in Singapore's context, the mothers usually are neglected in a sense that when I'm guilty also when I visit my baby niece, I will usually buy gifts for my baby niece more than I'll buy for my cousin. Because in my mind, it's just like, oh, I want to welcome the new baby to the family. And everyone is just focused on the newborn baby, right? Yeah. So that is the reason why you actually created this business, to show care and concern for the mothers out there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong to welcome the new
of course,
baby.
Of course.
Yeah,
but there should be a fair share, right?
It should be. Yeah.
Okay. So were there any difficulties you actually went through during that time alone in New York? Not much lah.
Not so capable. Difficulties, like, is in like in being a mother, like becoming a new mother.
Yes, correct.
Difficulties, right? I think it's more so just handling everything on our own. Yeah, because the first 3 months, especially just me and my husband.
Yeah.
We didn't have any much help. Like we had to like rely on certain friends who have cars because we live in the city and not many people drive there too. So we only have a handful of friends and we had a lot of pediatrician appointments to go to, especially in the first 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And it's just easier if we could drive the baby there. And we had that like limitation, no car, then we had to like ask for friends, help, or if not Uber.
Right.
And it just adds to the cost of living, everything, of having a baby and all that. So it was just tiring, having to like go through the newborn phase, waking up so often and still having to like go out and bring the baby out to see the doctor every day, almost every day, literally the first week. So that was difficult, and then trying to like understand how the baby is like responding, like answering all their needs or like getting all their cues and like getting you like being able to understand them and they can respond to you as well, like just all these different things.
So being a mother is really an amazing thing. And because you were alone back there, in a sense that your friends and your closest friends and family is actually back home in Singapore, right? So I've often heard of this term, post-partum depression, right? Maybe can you explain to the audience a little bit about what this is actually about, and were you ever in that phase?
Right. So postpartum depression is a more extreme end of how a mom is dealing with this transition emotionally. So there is a whole spectrum, like ranging from like the normal regular baby blues that occur, like you just feel like maybe a little down because of your hormones are, still in regulation after giving birth. But then there's like postpartum anxiety, which is maybe a tad stronger in intensity than baby blues. And then postpartum depression lies on the extreme end,
Right.
where there might be thoughts of like, like I want to harm the baby, or like I want to harm myself. Yeah, so I didn't go to that extreme. I think mine maybe more of just, probably the baby blues part of it, or like just doubting myself as a new mom, or doubting myself of my ability to read my baby's responses, or like just to tend to her needs at that time. Like I remember my baby was like making a lot of sounds at night, like noises, grunting noises, and like I was just so tired, like from like the whole birth and like recovering from it in the night, that it was sometimes like I just like sleep through those noises. Like I'm also a heavy sleeper to begin with, so I think it didn't help. Whereas my husband was like quite a light sleeper, so he hears all these things, and in the mornings he'll be like, "You mean you didn't hear all of that?" Then
you'll feel a bit guilty.
I feel guilty. Like, am I like a bad mom then? Am I not like, they say like, oh, moms can hear every single thing the baby's like cry and everything, but like I was like, oh, I didn't hear it.
Well, but at least you have a good night's sleep, right? In a sense.
At least I got some rest.
For a heavy sleeper.
And I had to call my mom, and like it just like ran to her a bit, and then she gave me some assurance that it's normal, the babies make noises, like you don't have to worry, and you don't have to feel bad about it. And
so your support system was actually your mom?
Like we contact each other, try and communicate with our parents. Most days, like either text or like calling them. Just to get them updated with how their new grandchild is. Of course, so
FaceTime and everything.
So
are there any symptoms that your immediate circle can actually pick up to sense whether you are going through any of it?
I think it might be hard sometimes. Sometimes, especially if it's just a normal like baby blues kind of thing. Like they might just be like a little down at times, or sad, which it's just normal. I think if like,
have you ever met any of your friends who actually been through it before?
Not personally.
Okay, but have you heard? Also not much.
Not much in my immediate circle.
So what are what's a piece of advice that you can actually give to people or friends or family who actually have someone who is a newly minted mom? What are some things that they can actually look out for to be sensitive, respectful, but at the same time showing support to them as well?
Right. I think first of all, if you are visiting a new mom, like just be very careful with what you say to her in terms of her appearance, in terms of what she's doing with her baby, especially if you're not a mom. Like to not give like advice that is not called for. Basically.
For example.
You should like, why are you not feeding your baby formula milk if she's like still hungry, or you don't feel like she's eating enough or something like that. Or like, why do you let your baby cry and not tend to her immediately? Sort of thing. Like there are different ways that different parents have chosen to approach their style, like parenting styles and caring for a style for their baby. So it's just better to like let them roll with it. And don't judge them for what they're doing. Just be mindful of all these. Mindful of how you say things to them, or like especially all these advice. It's really like it's hard to take in when you're like already like, I tried everything. You don't know how much I've tried, or you're not aware. Then please don't say such things. So
because it's already very hard to pick up a new skill, let alone pick up a new role in your life that you have it's completely not familiar to you at all.
Mm.
And you're already trying to make things work, right? And every night you're not having enough sleep. And when your
Yeah.
friends and family come over and you listen to this kind of feedback or comments, it might actually affect the mummy
Yeah.
negatively as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So what are three things that you would have wished now that your second baby is coming, right? What are three things that you wish that your friends and family would actually do for you?
I would wish for that I'll always welcome like more food and snacks for a new mom.
Okay, more food for the mummy, right?
Yeah, more food for mommy. Because when you're like starting out as a mom, you're like tired and sometimes you need some comfort food. And also if you're breastfeeding, actively breastfeeding, whether you're pumping or you're latching a baby, it takes up a lot of your energy, your resources. So snacking a lot helps to like kind of like feed yourself constantly, and because you just feel hungry a lot of times. And bringing food, bringing some say three things, right? Three things.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
right?
three things lah. It's like three wishes. You can make a wish
Three
now.
wishes. Yeah, bring me more food.
Okay.
Bring me more some help maybe. Yeah, like
For example, instead of bring food, come to your house and cook for you.
that too if you want to. Yeah, in New York, like I had a friend who brought me like food or like ordered food in for us, that kind of thing. In Singapore, I guess, I have a helper, so it's like they can cook and stuff. But I think sometimes maybe you need an extra pair of hands, especially if like husband is like out back to work. Yeah, he's done with his paternity leave or something. Then an extra help to like carry your baby for you at some times, or just watch and let you rest a little bit. Yeah.
So just that little, physical help to be there for you and for the baby actually will help mommy a lot for them to rest emotionally and also as well as physically, right? Yeah. So understand that before Fourth Wellness, you were actually a scientist, right? So and you actually gave up that job after you actually gave birth to your daughter. So do you think that having an identity other than being a mom is important for all the mothers out there?
Yeah, I do think having an identity outside of a mother is important. I speak for myself.
Okay.
Like I know some people, I think they really enjoy
correct. They're fully
being just a
contented being a mother.
They're just contented like staying at home and just enjoying their time with their children so much, and they are able to think of activities for them all the time. But for myself, I feel like, especially now that my older daughter now, she's a toddler, like there's so much more that I need to engage her with, and like I just don't have that energy and that physical energy, as well as like the creativity, I think, to like get her to learn things and do things and engage with her meaningfully, like 24/7 or like the whole day that she might be around me. And so I think like for me, I need like a space outside of like being a mother to do my own thing, to do something that I love, to do something that helps me grow as a person outside of growing as a mother, but just growing my skills in other areas, or like participating in like things I enjoy doing. So I think that helps me to find a balance in being a mother, and also to take the stress off like parenthood.
Okay. So for those moms who are actually trying to search for their own identity again, or say that who are contemplating on whether to actually take up a job again after giving birth, is there anything that you can say to them to actually empower them to take that leap of faith again? Because it can be scary, because if you're a mother for maybe like 3-4 years, full-time mom, and you have not been working, for you to actually take a step back out again, it can be a very, very scary and scary thing.
I think these days, I guess there's more and more like focus on like, women coming back into work, and like I guess the rise of femininity as well, like feminism rather. There's a lot of talk about that. So I think people are generally, I hope that workplaces here at Singapore is more accepting of like mothers returning to the workforce also, after maybe a few years of break from just being a full-time mom. But I think, having said that, I think like moms, if you guys are like, wanting to go back into work, it's like, don't be afraid to step back in and just do it and try it. Like, you never know until you step back.
Yeah.
So they will never know, and it's always about like, that fear of judgment as well. Like, oh, am I lacking in my skills, or am I not keeping up with times? But if that's what you're afraid of, then prepare yourselves for that. Like prepare and learn again and pick up the skills. I think it's important to just show that you have that mindset that you want to grow, that you want to learn. I think people will appreciate that as you come back into the workforce. Yeah.
So what were some things you actually did to prepare yourself in terms of that? Or it's slightly different from you because you actually started your own company, right? Instead of going back to being a researcher.
Yeah. I think it's slightly different. I mean, I did go back to work, but after maternity and as a researcher, but that's like different. And in between like starting this business and coming from like a short break of like being a mom, like I was also like looking for jobs that were still in like the science industry, but slightly different area. Like not really a research-based job. I think those also like required me to like, okay, I need to identify like what skill sets I can bring to those jobs, and like I need to see how I can like learn and take on a new role if I were to get into those jobs. So definitely like having to read up on it and having to like talk to people in those roles. So like for myself, and then to start this business is like definitely like I had to learn certain things. I took like some courses, like Google courses that I could to like learn about a bit about digital marketing that I needed to do for the business. And I would say like I think everything revolves around learning especially life is just a lifelong learning of things, whether you're learning to become a mother, you're learning to become something else,
business owner,
going back to work,
and I think nowadays we have a plethora of information online that you can actually use. For example, you mentioned that you actually took on courses on Google. So just it's at your fingertips, even things like Skills Future is something that you can actually use to upgrade your skills as well. So that can be a first baby steps for mothers who actually do want to look for something or have maybe want to step out into the society to work again.
Definitely.
Okay, and what's why did you not just go back to being your previous job? Instead, you actually started a company. What made you want to do that 180-degree switch? Because folk wellness has nothing to do with cancer research or whatever at all. So that is a very big switch.
It is. It was a bit daunting to begin with, because it's like moving out of my comfort zone and just doing something unfamiliar to something I'm not so familiar. But the first initial reason like why I didn't want to go back to what I was doing, like working in a lab and everything, is more so because of the constraints I had like with my child at that time. So as I was breastfeeding her exclusively, and she was she had a dairy and soy intolerance, so there was really no other option but to give her breast milk. And if I were to like pump milk, there's no assurance for me to know that I would have enough milk to sustain her like in the day, or like if I'm gone and I work outside of the home and everything. So I wanted a job that I can actually work from home. So when I interviewed for other jobs in the industry, I was also looking into those jobs that I could actually work from home with more ease, but also those are jobs that are still outside of what I was usually doing.
Yeah.
Like it's not like doing experiments in the lab and stuff like that, but more sit down desk day jobs kind of thing, and dealing more with data or like customers and kind of stuff. So that would be different too. And I was also having to prepare myself if I do get a job in those like roles as well. So eventually, I mean, things just didn't work out with those interviews.
Yeah.
And and then I came across a CNA article about like another business that was like serving, I think, post-partum meals or something for like the Malay community as well.
Oh, okay.
So they were mentioning that, or rather the founder was mentioning that, there's like greater need for like postpartum care for women. And then I was like, oh, that's in line with like my idea that I've always had at the back of my mind, like since coming back to Singapore, like to have like a side hustle or something like that. I was like, okay, since I'm not getting employed anywhere yet, or like
might as well just start.
I might as well like start this thing, and like I don't want the ship to like sail off before and then regret it in the future that, oh, I had this idea but somebody else is taking it now and like running off with it. So I just thought I'm still young. I can still have the energy. I can always still go back to science or in the research lab in the future if I do want to.
Right. So how did you actually start for Flawless? Well, is it very capital intensive, or what were some things that you had to prepare or like had to set aside before you actually start for Flawless?
I wouldn't say it's capital intensive, because I gave myself just a small budget to work with. And my idea was to really start small and like to find source for items or that is easy for me to procure and easy to put together and market it to the people who I want to reach out to, which is people, friends and families of new moms. So I had to like, first of all, like I had to like look at like the community itself, like of mothers, like what do they need or what do they receive here, because I'm not very familiar as well with like.
So how do you go about getting that information?
I sent out a survey, to mostly like friends, and then word of mouth through to anybody else like who comes across it. So it was a small survey just to get a sense of like, what
do mummies
want? What do mummies want, or what do mummies already have right now, and like what do they think they need? And also just a general idea of like how many mummies like go through natural delivery or C-section births, because I know eventually I want to like have products that cater to their recovery. Specifically, and like it differs if it's like a natural birth or C-section birth. So I had to do like questions to like to find answers for that.
So what are some items that mummies who went through C-section actually require for their recovery?
So mummies who actually went through C-section, because it's a very different area where they suffer like the wound, or like they have an incision in the abdomen area. So they will need to like make sure that area is clean, and they will need to like have some sort of heating pads that can provide some relief from the pain, and cleaning the area nicely, and also there are some scar ointments that they could apply to prevent scarring in the future. But there are also other things that might be similar to like a natural birth, where they still find it hard to bend over, especially because they have like a wound there. And
this is for C-section or natural?
Like both. We might have difficulty just to like clean themselves below, or like just to because there's always
self-care,
like self-care
difficulties
caring for themselves, like sitting up or like just so there are basically that's the main difference now, where the baby comes out from, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, and how you care for the areas
Yeah.
are different. Yeah.
So what would you say your unique selling point of fourth wellness to be?
Today, I think, so the top bestseller is still our Relax Kit, which is the first kit that I started off with, which is just a small kit that helps a mom relax,
Yeah.
but also has like double duty where like the items can help with their breast engorgement issues.
Okay.
So, and yet at the same time, there are also items that they can use for just general relaxation. And so it lives beyond like this postpartum period or beyond their breastfeeding journey. So I think, and it's also suitable for like moms who are like not, who hasn't just given birth, but they are like
preparing,
moms already, or
or
even preparing, in pregnancy stage. I think they could definitely also benefit from like those items inside the kit.
Right.
Yeah. So, does that answer that question?
Yeah, definitely it does. It does. And I think it's great, to have all this, to have a mother care kit, because I think, as in, for my friends and for myself, whenever we were to visit someone who actually has just given birth, right? The things that we buy are usually like bird nest or gift for the baby, some snacks and food and things like that. But now that there's actually particular package that is catered for mummies, I think it's actually a very good initiative and a good item that we can actually buy for them. Yeah. So throughout your journey, being a founder, right, was there ever a time where you felt like giving up, or you felt like, oh, I should probably just quit and go back to work again?
Was there? I think it's still a very young business, but of course there's a period in the early part of this year that sales are like so low and like so slow, and that I was like, is this business like not gonna grow anymore, or like what's happening this month or this 2 months? Like how can I like continue to get people to be interested, or to what else can I do? It's like, but it's also very like disappointing when like sales are slow and you're like, okay, what else should I do? So at that point, it's like, you just don't know like what to think about it, and like it can push someone to just give up and stop it altogether. But I think it was helpful that like I spoke to some people who was working with my husband, like, and he was like a growth marketing expert, so like he was able to like give us some insight, like
breathe some life to your
like, okay, like don't worry, these 2 months are slow because of this.
Right.
So like it's normal, it's the same for like most people and everything. So don't have to like worry about it. You pick up again, and sure enough, I think it has picked up like since then. So
okay. So other than actually speaking to your pillar of support, are there any actually things that you do for yourself to manage stress and to manage this sometimes negative emotions that you have in life in general?
I think for me, like I journal, so like it helps that I could like pen down thoughts about these and like my own doubts about myself and my struggles and feelings of inadequacies. Like as I pen it down, as I just reflect on it, and it helps me to process how I'm feeling about it and how I can manage it better.
Okay, so mostly journaling helps to sort out your thoughts. And what do you do to actually stop yourself from feeling negative again? Because from what I know, sometimes people do journal, but that doesn't actually stop them from thinking negatively. Maybe 3 simple steps that you have?
3 simple steps.
Yeah. Or it's just one. Also can.
I think so. Like after journaling, of course, like for me, I have my faith to fall back on. So like I think that keeps me going. Yeah, in terms of like having hope that things might change, and like that I'm not depending solely on myself alone. Yeah, that I'm depending on the God that I believe in. So, and I can trust in Him for that. So that's for me personally. And I think if people has their own other ways of holding on to something else other than their own personal like abilities, then it's helpful, because like you are thinking of something bigger than yourself. Yeah, you're focusing your mind on something bigger than yourself, and not just looking inwards all the time, and just letting all the negativity like overwhelm you. And just having something else to
Give
to
you that
release,
support also.
your negative thoughts too.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Okay, and as both a mother and now coming to be mother of two, what do you think will be a major change, or will there be a major change to your business?
I'm hoping not. I mean, I'm still hoping to be able to do some things during like this maternity period, of course. And like just try and prepare for it now before like my baby pops anytime. So I just hope that things can still continue, at least stay a little bit there'll be a consistency going on in the background. Like sales can still happen in the background. It's just that maybe like growth wise it might not be as fast. So I will expect like a slower growth, or like I can't like grow it as fast within the next few months as I would like to.
Do you have any goals that you have set in stone for wellness in the next few months or few years?
A few months would be hard to say, but at least I guess within the next year is to be able to work with more industry experts and collaborate with them more, whether is it by being able to have my items placed in their, like either whether they are like a doula or like a midwife or I don't know, like different clinics or something like that, that I can like have my items being made known to their patients or clients, then that would be great. And also just to engage with them a bit more and invite them to, just have like contributions to like my social media or whatever marketing content that I have put out in place. I mean, that's one thing for sure, like more collaboration.
Collaborations.
And to be able to roll out a greater amount of
diversity of
products,
range of products.
Of products. Within the next year.
Looking forward to what you have in store for wellness. And lastly, right, before I end, in terms of your own definition of success, what are 3 non-negotiable aspects in life you think you must have for you to be termed as unsuccessful?
3 non-negotiables. This is a tough one. To me, termed as I'm successful. I think importantly, like you enjoy what you do. I think it doesn't really matter like to me, of course, like financial gains of a business and everything is great, but I think to feel successful, I also have to feel happy about it. Like I don't want to, be earning a lot on the future or having a great like name for myself, but I'm not like enjoying what I'm doing. So I think that's important, like being able to enjoy, to keep the passion alive for what I'm doing. That's how I would feel like success is, for one. Another non-negotiable, I can't think of 3 actually.
I mean, it can be family, spiritual wise, health wise.
I think family, work-life balance. like being able to still, being a mom, especially like a mother and a founder at the same time, to be, like being able to still have a good relationship with my family and still have a growing business on the side.
Right.
Or whatever career that maybe I would be in the future. I don't know. So,
Okay.
so to be able to fulfill the different roles equally and well, I think that's also another area I would say it's not negotiable.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I can't think of the third one. So
Okay, so to sum it up, it's actually for your definition of success, it's to actually do something that you love. And the second one is to make sure that, work-life balance is there. So family is still there while a growing business is there, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so before we end, would you like to give Fourth Wellness a shout out and as to where people can actually find you?
Yeah, sure. Of course. So Fourth Wellness, you can visit Fourth Wellness website. It's just www.fourthwellness.com. Or we have also, we are on social media like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can search the handle Fourth Wellness and you can just find us there. Yeah.
So we have reached the end of our podcast for today. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing all these wonderful stories and experience with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Chin Up and Rise. We have also collated the key pointers of today's episodes. All you can do is actually click the link down below to have access to all this. And you can also follow us on the social media handles down below for more content and update. Before you go, do remember to give us a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.